Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are going to be taking a good look at the master strip that you get with Cubasis 3. So I've at the moment got this on my stereo output channel here. If I click on here, we've got a master strip first, then a waves audio track, and then a limiter. I always put a limiter on and set that limiter to around -3-ish. You'll see it's -2.9. We can set this around there. Doesn't really matter. As long as it's around there somewhere, you're not going to clip. Okay, so let's just close that. Right, so the master strip, let's just have a quick look at it. So this might be quite an involved video, but it'll help kind of finalize your mix before you either A, get it ready for its proper mastering, or you can actually master it, it's fine, and then you can, do what you like with it, release it or whatever. Now, I've got a Waves audio track as well. I'll explain what that's for in just a sec. It's really just a default. In fact, if I play the track and switch the audio track on, you won't hear anything. So, see, it won't do anything at all. Although it's working. All I'm basically using this for is an EQ at the end of the actual mix. So we can leave that switched on. Okay, let's go and have a look at the master strip. I won't switch that on yet. So this is the mastering strip in Cubasis, right? So let's get this set like this. So you have three parts to the mastering strip, and this is part of Cubasis 3. It's on. You'll find it in the internal effects. If you look at internal effects, say for example, look internal effects, you will find let's get this with my finger. You will find the master strip, not to be confused with the channel strip. So the master strip works well on the output mix, but you can also use it on any other track you like. I'm gonna do that in a sec anyway. But you have three parts: multi-band compressor with 3 bands that you can control, a stereo imager, and a loudness maximizer. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that's turned off first. So I don't want to do anything with this at all. Right. So the most important thing when you're getting your track ready is to make sure that the mix is as perfect as it can be. So if you look at your mixer, you don't want anything to clip anywhere. So anywhere in the signal chain, if you see it clip here, you want to fix that. Okay, so you need to get the mix as perfect as it can be. Or you're EQing everything. So we're going to do a few adjustments. I'll just expand now. So for example, this drum machine here, this comp drum machine, it sounds, it's pretty dull, to be honest with you. Here it is here. So I am going to have a look what I've done with it so far. So if I look at my insert effects, you'll see I've got a bit of studio EQ going on. And the EQ, I'm happy with the EQ on that, that's fine. And I've got a channel strip, but just this default setting turned on. We can go into the actual channel strip and kind of drive all this stuff, but it's fine as it is. What I'm going to do here is add in internal effects, and I'm actually going to add in, let me just stop it. I'm actually going to add in the master strip on this one channel just to show you some stuff, right? So if we play this now, if I turn this off for now and just play, oops, not record, Doug. Play. Okay, and turn it on. You'll hear it kind of, it makes it a little bit louder, add some EQing in with the multiband compressor. which is fine, but I'm more interested in the stereo imaging, right? So the good thing is here that we have the 3 bands, as we do have in a multi-band, but we have 3 independent bands for the stereo imaging. And you'll see that this is the width control here. So that's having a super wide kind of bass end. If we play, most times you'll want your bass end to be quite tight, not kind of stereo. So especially for like this kick drum. And then we want to make the high end here wider. Hear that? So that's taking it basically down to mono. So I'm going to have that wider. And the mids can be what you choose. So we can have that kind of like that. So it's going from kind of mono a little bit more and then wider at the top. The other cool thing you can do with the stereo imager is pan any of these bands. So for example, if I pan the high end all the way over to the right, it's still going to retain, double tap to reset, it's still going to retain the stereo, but it's going to push it either left or right. For example, with this kick drum, if the width is basically mono for this bass end, and we pull it over, okay. Now, again, I'm not really too bothered about doing anything like EQing with this or stuff like that, or messing around with the thresholds. If for example, with a multi-band compressor, if the threshold is pushed all the way up like that, it's not doing anything. You'll see there's no gain reduction going on. So kind of set it to its default, that'll be fine. And then you have your ratio. We'll set that to default as well. But I'm not really bothered about that. Really just wanted to make it a little bit wider in the stereo image, the drums. Then you have loudness maximizer, which again we can kind of just leave. That's with soft clip, but you could push it a little bit or change it over to modern. But like I said, I'm not really bothered about that. I just wanted to make it wider. Okay, so that should sound slightly better in the mix now if we unsolo this. Okay, so you're gonna like, it's all about subtle, right? You're gonna hear much more top end of that drum kit because it's gonna be wider. So you can see what effects I've got on these. So the mix is basically done, really. I'm happy with how the mix is. So, and you should be happy with the way your mix is, but you need to spend time getting it right, obviously, to what you want it to be. So I'm going to let this play through so you get an idea of the track, and then we'll go into mastering it. We want to let it play through anyway before we start doing anything with the master strip, because we want to see if there's anything that needs further fixing. So the idea is that you can hear all the parts of your mix, and if there's anything that doesn't sound right, you can fix it. Now, notice that I've boosted the EQ on that particular frequency there. Now we're clipping, so we want to be fixing that. So we'll add in an effect and we'll go to audio units, and I will just basically put in my limiter of choice and spell it right. So I at the moment, I'm using Amazing Noises limiter. So I'm going to drop this to about -3. Again, is probably good. And then we can play this. No more clipping. And you can see it's doing its job. The limiter is reducing the gain on the hits. Okay. So I think we've get the idea there. So once you're happy with your mix, blah, 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 and it's everything sorted out, we can then go and start to play around with the actual master channel. So if we scroll along here now, I've got it on 1 and 2 on my audio interface. Let's look at the master strip. So let's switch it on. I'm going to worry about the audio track or anything yet. Remember, I've got a limiter on here as well. Now, as we start to boost stuff, we may need to do some further limiting, etc. So let's just see how this goes. Right, so we're just going to use the default. So we're not going to be worrying about presets and stuff and things. But there are loads of presets. If we look at the master strip here, you've got lots of presets, 70s, 80s, etc. Acoustic rock, loads of stuff for mastering, basically whatever kind of music you make. Okay, so well, let's just play around with the controls in their default state. So go back to the beginning and we shall play. Now, I'll turn the microphone down now and I'll just play around with the multiband compressor. Let's turn it on anyway. You'll notice a change. We're still not going to clip yet though, because we've got our limiter on set at 0 dB, so that's fine. Let's play around with these controls. So you can hear it's like an EQ on the bands. You increase the frequency range of the bass compared to the mids. Around there is probably good, probably what, 150, 160. Now, the lower the threshold, so -39 dB, the harder this compressor is going to work. really pushing the bass out now, which is good. So you don't need to do a lot, if you know what I mean. You don't really need to go bonkers. And we can compare by switching it on and off. The whole feel is now tighter. Better. So when you've played around with this for ages and ages, you can switch different bands on and off as well, of course. You can go turn the entire thing off. Let's start again now, so that's with nothing at all. Maybe a bit too much top end. Let's go to our stereo imaging. So definitely we want to tighten this bass up. I'm going to widen the whole top end and some of the mids as well. Because this is a master mix, we don't need to worry about the pan. See, that bass sounds a lot tighter now as well. Too wide. Better. And we're still in control, no clipping. No effect. See how it starts to sound dull now. You can hear a lot more what's going on. Now, of course, let's do loudness. We can control the overall output here. Let's go to our loudness maximizer. So if we push this up, too much is going to sound bad. Modern, soft clipping. Soft clip off. Classic is better for this. This is the loudness maximizer mix. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do in a minute is run through some of the presets for you as well. But last but not least, in this particular chain, is the Waves audio track. Basically, the only reason this is here genuinely is to do nothing other than be an EQ at the end of at the total end of the chain. So, for example, I'm only interested in using the EQ bands, none of the comping or the gate or anything like that. So by pressing this little button here or tapping on the actual numbers here, you'll see we have all these controls for each band. So gain, frequency, Q. So for example, on say number 2, our Q point would be, we won't see it. Let's increase the frequency. Actually, let's increase the gain. And then pull the Q out, or we can tighten it up. Okay, so the resonant point, basically, double tap to reset that. And then the frequency we can shift left or right across the whole field. Okay, and then again we can go minus or positive, and again tighten up things. So this is just, it really is a general mastering EQ. If we play the track and look at our bass, that sounds really nice. We can control our output, of course. Let's look at number 4. Now, we've already done a lot of work on the top end. It's actually quite nice as well. I'll start again in a sec. Okay, so I mean, I'm quite happy with that. So if I turn that off now, you won't hear a lot until we get some bass going on, so let's just run this little section. Go back into our awesome. So if we turn that off, and also, let's look at our mixer. We take our master strip off as well. So whereas originally when we played the track, it sounded okay, making the adjustments with the master strip and a tiny bit of EQ, makes a massive difference, you know, to the finished product. Now, of course, these settings might not be exactly to your liking. You can go and change them. Like I said, we can use presets. Let's run a few presets for this. Let's leave the, actually, let's switch the EQ off and let's look at some of these. In fact, let me do it like this. We can, yeah, make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to run some presets for you. Start with 2000s. I'll turn this microphone down now, guys. If you've watched this, I'll stop this. Guys, if you watch this video premiere, let me get this kind of back into its full range in case it ends up going round again. If you watch this video premiere, thanks very much. Please strike that like, subscribe to the channel, all that other cool stuff you can do. It'd be really appreciated. I hope you find this useful, but if you've got a Cubasis, you'll have this, and it's, like I said, you find it in the internal effects, and it's really important that you use this on your final kind of mix or any other track you like. It's great for drums, making things wider, tightening things up like bass. The multi-band compressor is great because if you're in stereo, you can tighten up that bass perfectly and make the mids wider, maybe the top end a little bit wider still. Play with all the frequency bands for the mid, the highs and the lows. It's great stuff. So look, I'm going to disregard all I've done now because I haven't bothered saving it, but I'm going to choose 2000s era and I'm just going to play through the track. In fact, let's see. Right, okay, great. You're going to hear the difference now each time I choose a preset. I will see you guys later. Ta-ra. Presets are a really good place to start, by the way, so you can find one that you like and then you can tweak away.